Hi, this is Zena Krogadal. I am your American Dream Makers host today. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you are on here live, and even if you end up watching this on the replay, please share this out. I've got a special guest today, and I'm excited to introduce him. He is doing some great things here in the Prescott community. But first, let me play my intro video. Here we go. I am back again. I am Zena Krogadal, your American Dream Makers host today. And today I have a very special guest. His name is Patrick Kuykendall, and he is a Army veteran. He has served our country for over 18 years total in different capacities. But in those 18 years, he's also been an entrepreneur, had small businesses and multiple properties. He retired from, he enlisted in the Army in 1983, and he served until 1987, and then he enlisted in the National Army Reserve, National Guard, and then he retired in 2005. Boy, I'm just like stumbling over my words today. And he is very, very active in our community. He volunteers in many organizations across all of Arizona. And I'm just very excited to bring him on today. So here he is. Hi, Pat. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good, Zena. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell us what is all going on with you and what's going on today. Tell us about yourself, please.
Outstanding. First of all, thanks for having me on the show. Pat Kuykendall was honored to serve about 22 years in the military, 4 years active duty, 18 years in the reserves, with a couple of callbacks for deployments. And then I've been serving vets. This is my 40th year of either being in uniform or being with veteran organizations. So it's been a great ride. Right now, the background's not the best, but we're at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum here at the State Fair with the AZ Hire Vets hiring event. So what we're doing down here today is with all the state agencies is trying to hire veterans from 9 a.m. until noon, and then from noon until 3, we open it to the public. But we're trying to give Arizonians the opportunity to get into state service. We've got about 25 different agencies here that are hiring right now and even hiring on the spot. So if somebody happens to be in the Phoenix area close to the state of the Arizona Memorial Coliseum, we're in the Wesley Bolin building right here. We'll be here till 3 o'clock with hiring managers, CHROs, and a lot of staff ready to talk to you about different opportunities with the state and to possibly hire you right on the spot.
That's fantastic. Hi, Ajane. Thank you so much for being on here with us today. So glad to see you. And if you have any questions for Pat, please be sure to put it in the chat. Love to get some questions if you got them out there. And please share this. There may be a lot of people out there looking for jobs today, so we want to make sure they get some information at this event down in the Phoenix area, and just to get the word out. So, Pat, you do. That's just amazing how much you have served. Thank you so much for serving our country first and foremost. Really appreciate you. Just being out there and dedicating your time of service to all of us and making this a better place for us to be. And then you just continue to do so. I know I see you all over the place helping so many people out here, and you are involved in many things. Can you tell us a little bit more of the things that you are doing here in our area as well?
Perfect. Well, back in Mayor Mangarelli, I was asked to be the Prescott Mayor's Commission chairman. So I've been doing that for about 4 years now. And so we have a group of local veterans that serve with the mayor, and we meet monthly to try to enhance our support of veterans across the Prescott and Yavapai County. So we do neighborhood events where we'll take veteran organizations out to the neighborhoods and let those neighborhoods, the veterans in those communities, especially our newer communities, be able to learn more about the VA hospital, our veteran benefits, the Arizona Department of Veteran Services, how different volunteering organizations in Prescott work with veterans. We also promote our VFWs, our American Legions, but we really, with a population of 18% veterans in our community, we really want to get the word out that there are services available, because a lot of people are moving into our communities. They may not know what benefits are available. They may not know that the VA center, really is one of the best in the country. They may have a comp and pen or a benefit 10% rating, but they're wanting to increase their rating. So we work, hand in hand with Arizona Department of Veteran Services with our veteran benefit counselors to help those veterans maybe get a higher rating because of disabilities. And, it's been a great program. We're very active in the community. The mayor is a Vietnam veteran, Mayor Phil Good, so that makes it a little more enticing, but, very active in the community there. We also partner with the Chamber of Team Red, White, and Blue. We do our quarterly veteran business mixers, and that's open up to not only veteran-owned businesses, but to veterans and those businesses wanting to promote their business to veterans, and if they do have discounts or share information with that. And the next one's going to be May 1st. It'll be at Matt's Saloon right there on Montezuma from 5 to 7, 5:30 to 7:30, somewhere in that time frame. But it's a great event to bring the veteran business makers into the area. We've also got April 22nd. We're working with Cruise In for Vets, and that's going to be a big car show out in Prescott Valley. I think registration starts at 7 until 3, but that's where veterans and non-veterans, we collaborate, we work, we bring our cars out there and we showcase, and all the money goes for veterans. So there'll be silent raffles and auctions and stuff like that out there. Also was selected to be the Army Reserve Ambassador for the whole state of Arizona back almost 4 years ago. So anything to do with the Army Reserve, I have a couple of Minutemen scholarships, either a 4 or 3 year, that I get Army Reservists, or those that wanting to join the Army Reserve, they can send me a letter and say, hey, I'm interested in a Minuteman scholarship, and I do interviews with them. And if I sign off on the letter and send it up to the Army Reserve, then they're in a selection pool to get a 4-year scholarship. Also honored to serve as the Vice Chair for Arizona with Department of Defense, the Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve. And what this agency does, it's Department of Defense, it's a group of volunteers, but we're out there making sure and educating employers on the USERRA, the Uniformed Services Employment Reemployment Rights Act, where Guard and Reservists are protected in case they are called to duty, whether it's reserve duty, active duty. But if they're called back to service, the employer has to let them go and make sure that they do have that job waiting when they come back, and there is no, demotions or anything. There's an escalator clause. If their peer group gets promoted, they should be promoted with it. So Department of Defense and Department of Labor have a law called USERRA that protects our Guard and Reservists, and that's the big, that's the big piece. Is so many people don't understand that many of our police, our fire, our doctors, our airline pilots are still serving in the Guard and Reserve. And, they're out there doing their civilian job during the week, and then 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year, or during major crisis, whether it's stateside or nationally, they're called to duty and they may be gone for a while. So it's great having that agency, which also we do a lot of awards presentations. We have a whole list of awards that employers can receive, all the way up to the Secretary of Defense Freedom Award, in which the City of Prescott Fire Department was a recipient in 2019. So that's the top award Department of Defense who the Secretary of Defense can give. And City of Prescott Fire Department was one of the top 15 back in 2019. So a lot of great things going on.
A lot of great things going on. So I want to be sure to mention that today is National Vietnam War Veterans Day, and definitely want to give a big thank you to those who have served in Vietnam. I know personally for me, it definitely affected my family as we came over from Vietnam in 1975. So lots of gratitude to Vietnam veterans. And there's a lot of events going on today to give that recognition. So I just want to make sure you guys out there today, be sure you thank our veterans today. They really certainly sacrificed a lot. And something I wanted to also ask you, Pat. So you joined the Army at what age, and what made you decide to enlist?
Well, I joined in my senior year of 1983, and our family had businesses in Prescott, but there was just some other opportunity out there. So I enlisted in September 17th. I shipped out of Prescott, went to Fort Jackson for a few days, and then went to Fort Benning and joined the infantry, which I served proudly in for 4 years. And it was just a goal. My father, the previous mayor, Marlon Kuykendall, was in the Army. He did 6 years in the military, and just wanted to follow in his footsteps, and was proud to do that. Then came back, got very engaged into the family business, and stayed with the Arizona National Guard until I retired in 2005. So
That's great. So then, while you were enlisted, can you tell us a little bit about the experience of being in the Army, and for that time that you were there as an enlisted?
sure. No, the Army was very good for me. It taught me leadership. It taught me a lot of different things to be successful in life. The active component, you live it for 4 years. So, did a hitch at Fort Sill, and then went to overseas to Germany for a couple of years, came out, got out, and then was called to deploy in Gulf War back in 1989 and 90. So I was over there. And then, what really teaches you in the Guard and Reserve, again, is you have your civilian job, but then you're still required to do the same thing that our active duty component soldiers. So we go in 1 weekend a month. We still have to do your physical training. You still have all the skill sets. You're still competing for promotions. You still know how to fire and disassemble an M16. You got to be able to do your job description, your MOS, your military occupational specialty. So you have the same requirements doing that 1 weekend a month that a soldier on active duty would have to have 30 days to do. And then you're always eligible to get called up and deploy.
Yeah, that you guys do a lot of training. I know of many who have been certainly in the reserves, and it is a very important part of service. And I really appreciate that you signed up for so many years. So in that time, you were also deployed as well?
Yeah, we went to I went with a group called the 22nd Ordnance. We left out of Phoenix. It was a group of Arizona, and then we combined a unit with Alabama, and we went over and did a ammunition retrograde over in Saudi Arabia. And so what we were doing is, right after the 100-hour war, we were taking all the ammunition and stuff that was left out in the desert. And we have to remember that once the war ended, the tankers and then they were ready to get home. So all the equipment and all the ammunition and everything was still left out in the desert. And so we worked with a civilian company, a logistics company called Kelly Brown and Root out of Houston. And what we literally did was clean up the desert with tanks and APCs, armored personnel carriers, ammunition. So a group of us went over in logistics and dealt with the burn pits and everything, but worked on getting the equipment ready to ship back home. Ammunition that was still good was repackaged and shipped in convoys down to the port of Dammam and brought back to the United States. So it was about a year and a half of being over there, right after the war ended. We weren't there for the war actually, but we were there for right after it happened and cleaned it up.
Wow. The other thing I wanted to circle back a little bit. You said that you joined the Army because you were inspired by your father, your grandfather as well. They were both.
Yes, they're both served. Yes,
Yes,
but my father mostly. Father had successful, and I watched his success coming. Being in the Army and then being in the National Guard. In fact, his first command was the old armory on Gurley Street. Right there by Ken Lindley, and Gerald Brownlow, who the Brownlow Hope Trail is named after. Gerald was his first sergeant. So Pops was the commander right there on Gurley, and worked with Gerald Brownlow. And then I saw Pops become very successful in the business community up until, the day he died in 2021. And, it just kind of, you follow the footsteps. When you have a good mentor, somebody that you get support from, it makes life a lot easier. And you learn from successes.
And what a blessing it is that you had a wonderful father that was a great mentor. Not everyone gets to experience that. And so he's left an incredible legacy here in our Prescott area. I mean, his name is all over the place. I mean, Kuykendall is a very well-known name in the Prescott area, anybody who's been here for some time. And that must make you feel very proud to be a Prescottonian, huh?
Yeah, born and raised. Dad came in the late 50s. He was in the gas station business, and then he brought Toyota. He was the first Toyota dealer in Prescott. And what you see out there with Findlay now, Pops had in downtown Prescott, it was called Kuykendall Motors. And then he sold it through the years. It's now Findlay. But no, he was just a great entrepreneur, a great mentor. And he was very well known in the community, been around for a long time. But what he really had was a lot of passion and his love for Prescott. And and I think that's the traditions we try to keep. It's not about Prescott becoming too big. It's not about Prescott doesn't have. It's not about the Prescott traffic. It's how do we treat others. And I think that's what makes us stand alone in Prescott, because we treat others differently. We really appreciate the fact that, we're based on tourism and tax dollars. So when people come and visit our town, we want to share the downtown. We want them to enjoy our restaurants. Yeah, does it make it a little tougher on Saturday night, maybe to get into a restaurant? Yeah, maybe sometimes downtown's closed down when you need to get down Gurley Street or Montezuma. But, we want to share our hometown with everyone. And I think that's a great draw and a great reputation to have is, everybody's hometown, and Prescott definitely displays. And then you look back at 80% populations that a very large elation of retired veterans have found Prescott. And because of the amenities, we got a great VA hospital. We've got Dignity Health. We've got so many different veteran resources and non-veteran resources to attract veterans to move into our community, and they're a great asset. Veterans, when they're retired, they volunteer, they do Meals on Wheels, they're part of the Citizens Academy for the police department. They're serving in so many capacities in our area because they want to give back. They've already served their country. Now they want to serve their communities, and we're so blessed to live in a community with such a great veteran population.
We are definitely very blessed. So I observing veterans that there is the tendency to always want to be a servant to something. Like I see that a lot with our veterans through many communities, that they are just wanting to give back, and it always, I guess, inspires me and makes me think of, they've already sacrificed so much. You've gone, many have been, whether you were in combat or non-combat times, it doesn't matter. There's a huge sacrifice when you go into the military, because now, you're bound to schedules that, are not like the average person. You don't always get to come home on the holidays, and you don't necessarily, get to go to funerals and weddings. And, sometimes you miss some major events when you are in service. And, but yet when you come home, now granted, there are many veterans who struggle with some of the trauma that occurred during service time, but when they're able to get over or work through, I should say, those things, they seem to have this fire to serve. And I see that in you, Pat, that you have this real passion and fire to serve. Can you tell us where that comes from and why that is, and what is your take and observation on why veterans seem to be great servants in our communities?
And that's a good point. And, I've been driven, through, a good family. When, people say they were dealt a pretty good hand, I was dealt a great hand, and I'm very blessed and honored. But, it's not always about the money. It's not always about having a title. There's so many, if we really looked in the Prescott community, that person, that veteran that maybe is delivering Meals on Wheels might have been a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, but it doesn't mean anything. And I think when you learn that when you first put on the uniform and when you take it off for the last time, it's the toughest thing in the world, and you want to give back. Selfless service is one of the most honorable things you can do, but you've got to have the passion for it. And I think we all deal with not knowing maybe how to give back. And giving back is in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be at a volunteer organization. It could be putting in your neighbor's trash cans. It could be being nice to your neighbors on the street. It's just it's just we all work together. We're all in this together. All of our material possessions and everything we've worked hard all of our life, it's not going with you. You're gonna, and I think you get to a point where you want to leave a legacy of, my legacy is I want people to say, hey, you know what, that was a pretty good guy. And if you can leave the world a little better than you found it, I think it's great. And that's another thing we've got to look at. Our veterans, we've all been supported by our law enforcement. None of us would have left our families to go serve in the military if our families weren't safe here on the home front. And I preach this very often is our police and fire are the heroes, those paramedics, those doctors, the ambulance crews, those people that protect us safe here in America, in our communities, on our streets. They're the unsung heroes. Those are awesome, because none of us would have left, to go serve if our families weren't safe. So I want to do a big shout out for our first responders, our police, fire, sheriff's department, ambulance, doctors, nurses. They're my heroes every day. And, I'm just so appreciative to live in a community where we totally respect all of our first responders and we salute them on a daily basis.
Yeah, that very, very well said. So you also are, you compete in the Death March, the Bataan Memorial Death March. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, ma'am. Craziest thing I ever did in my life. But this year was my 17th year of doing the Bataan Memorial Death March. And, I learned about it about 20 years ago, because I just completed my 17th and there was a few years I didn't do it. But, in honor of those that survived the Death March, in fact, Mary Mallory, our supervisor, her father was a Bataan survivor, and we march in honor of him every day, Clarence Zaylor. And, but, it's happens in Las Cruces, and it's 20, you can either do the 26 mile or the 14 mile across the desert, but it's totally in honor of those that were in the Bataan Death March back in the Philippines back in 1941. But it's a great camaraderie. In fact, we're doing a second one on April 8th with Embry-Riddle. The Embry-Riddle ROTC programs, Air Force and Army, are going to be doing a 26 miler right there in Prescott. So I'm excited about helping them set that up. Hope to be able to do it with them. But again, there's so many different veteran opportunities out there. Today at the American Legion, they are honoring our Vietnam veterans from 11 to 2. Mayor Good's going to be the keynote speaker. Tomorrow at the Prescott VA from 10 to 2, they're going to be going over the PACT Act, which is the new burn pit registry to help those that were in Vietnam, Gulf War, Desert Storm, and the global war on terrorism, those that were overseas in those countries that use burn pit. The new PACT Act is very good, and it's going to help a lot more of our soldiers not only get the help, but get the resources to provide medical and maybe even financial to them. So that'll take place tomorrow at 10 o'clock over at our Prescott VA.
Great. I'm glad you told us about those events, because those are things that a lot of people don't know about and aren't aware. And so definitely learning about the PACT Act is a good thing, because like you said, when people don't know what they have or the resources they have. And so we just need to talk about it more and get that word out there.
Sure.
Because it's nice that our community has many things. And although I know as you're serving on the commission, the Veterans Commission for the mayor, I know you guys really sit and talk about ways we can help our veterans even more in this community. And I think that's wonderful and very unique for this community. Well, maybe not for this community, but very unique for communities, because not every community is veteran focused like we are here in Prescott. So
Well,
oh, go ahead.
okay, no, and that's and well, let's just, if we're going to dig deep, let's go deep. When a veteran serves and they do have a disability and they do get compensation from the because of their service to our country, that helps them. I mean, that is a financial benefit that allows them maybe to, it's a monthly, we won't call it a stipend, but it's a monthly payment due to their injuries or issues that they face. But it also helps them, and it gives them more money in their pocket, which they're able to spend, maybe upgrade on a house, maybe drive a little better car. So it's not all veterans retired, not all of them are going to get pension, but if they've served and they've got a service-connected injury, the compensation helps them live maybe a little better lifestyle, be able to do a little more, and but it also provides them additional medical assistance to whatever treatments they need, whether it's PTSD, TBI, rhinitis, sinusitis, all of the new burn pit. But a lot of people don't look at that, but it's very important that veterans do get out and registered for what they're entitled to. They earned it. And I can't say it enough. If you need help, reach out to me. I'd love to help you through the process or lead you to somebody that is the expert. But there's so many things out there. Education. Look at how many doctors, probably even over in our community, that were able to use the GI Bill. Otherwise, they wouldn't be a doctor. Or that airline pilot that maybe was enlisted and then used that money to go to flight school. Now they're flying not only in the reserves, they're flying for an airline. But there's so many benefits and perks for our veterans to serve, and that's the thing that young people now, especially in high school, should be looking at. We're in a peacetime military. Yes, there are some deployments still going on, but the benefits, a 20-year retirement, free medical, it's beyond belief of what's out there. And every one of our occupational skills in the military revert back to a civilian skill.
Yeah, I'm glad you went deep on that, because many aren't aware of those things. And you're right. Veterans who have gone and served and sacrificed deserve all of these things, because sometimes because they went out and they weren't able to have, I guess you would say, maybe some of the opportunities that civilians have had, because they dedicated so many years of their life in service and in a different avenue, and then they end up getting injured or whatever the case may be, that we do need to help them get up on their feet and be successful. And I love that you yourself, being an entrepreneur, a veteran and an entrepreneur, and you have such a passion to go out there and help not only people to just be better. You're out there at a job fair right now helping veterans gain employment. And so what a wonderful thing that is. And you've been doing that for how long now, helping doing these job fairs and going out there and making sure that our veterans can get employment? How long have you been a part of that?
Sure. Well, I came back after I sold our last business in 2009. I went to California and worked with Department of Defense for 7 years. And then when both of the parents got diagnosed with cancer, I came home and jumped on with the state, and have been working in different positions throughout the state. Recently, I was the state veterans manager for the last 4 years. However, with the change of governor and things changed in state service, I decided that I'd take a step back and go back into workforce to give somebody else the opportunity to work under the new governor with the state veterans manager program. So, almost 7 years with the state, working job fairs. And, we have such a great community, not only in Prescott, but statewide. But if we look at the Prescott, last week we worked with Yavapai College and Regional Economics Center, Development Center on a job fair, 180 attendees right there at Yavapai College, and we had about 60 employers. So, the job market is still hot, but nobody's going to hand you a basket full of jobs and you just pick one and show up for work on Monday. You still got to do your resume, you still got to do your homework, you still have to compete for these jobs. But a lot of successes, and there's so much opportunity out there. The sky's the limit for anybody.
That's great. And then what I also have observed too, it seems the veterans that really thrive are the ones that can find their purpose again. When you serve our country, you have definitely a purpose. And by the way, here's Pat's email to get a hold of him for any questions or any resource that you might want to know about. He's a wonderful resource for things going on for the veterans. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to maybe come out and ask, I kind of lost my train of thought for a moment there, but I wanted to make sure everybody gets a hold of you. But it seems like there's a sense of purpose that is very much needed in all of us. But for veterans, when you have served in the military, there was a purpose and a sense of camaraderie, a sense of all that. And then when many transition from military life into civilian life, it seems like that can be a hard transition for some of our veterans. And so I really love that you're out there really trying to help prepare the veterans to get employment. So that means getting the resume ready, getting them basically employable. And when they get a job that they like, and when they have that sense of purpose, do you see that propels them to go even further and beyond just having a job?
Yeah, the great thing about hiring a veteran or guard and reservist is they bring such a different perspective. They bring a global perspective. They're usually drug-free. They've got a can-do attitude. They're on time. They know respect. They know how to follow instructions. There's so much, and they're the most loyal and dedicated employees you're going to find. That's just the bottom line. Is when a veteran gets into their niche, they're unstoppable. But then we also have to take in that war and other situations, substance abuse and things have hurt a lot of our veterans, and we're so lucky to live in a community with U.S. vets and the DOM, and the VA has so many different programs to help those veterans that have had traumatic incidents get back on their feet, get them back into the workforce, provide them the counseling, provide them the therapy to get out there and get back on their feet again and keep going. And that's, it's just an amazing, it's an amazing piece to go. Many of our veterans really don't need the resources that are out there because they've been able to navigate on their own. But it's nice having the resources for those that may have a little bump in the road or a little stumble, that they are available. But yes, veterans are always trying to strive. We've got so many great veteran-owned businesses in the Prescott community, and they open up every day. I know you work with a lot of veteran realtors, and they're looking out. You do a great job with VRAP and your organization in helping our veterans in being able to purchase homes. But you also have to share the fact that maybe they're not ready to purchase a home, so you're giving them the tools. And that when we go back to the disability piece, when you're working with a veteran buying a house and they served 15 or 20 years and have 3 deployments, but they've never reached out, and they have some issues, that's what it's all about. Get them the help, get them the financial resources, because the money is there, and maybe they're able to, and once they're able to get a benefit, they're able to purchase a house. Just the little things, but it takes a collaboration. The Army and the military is not it's we. And by working together in a community, that's what makes Prescott so beautiful, is not only do the veteran community work together, but all of those that haven't served know somebody who served or their family members have served, and we all just work together, and it makes it so much easier. And what a great place to live, Prescott.
Yeah, a wonderful place to live. So, what would you leave for those that are struggling, for those veterans that are struggling and maybe watching this? What would you tell them today?
Don't be afraid. That's the biggest thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help. We've all been there. Reach out, find the resources, find a mentor. You know, just really, really take your time and reach out and get whatever you need. It's out there. There's nothing out there that that hasn't already been identified, or somebody else may have already there. But if you got PTSD, the VA has a great therapy program. We have so many different resources. If you're homeless, US Vets does a great job of getting you a place, getting you back on your feet, helping you find a job, and then helping you find housing. And to those veterans in the community that came to a beautiful place to retire, find your niche in the community to give back, serve. Dedicate your time, do something fun, but give back to the community. It's the most rewarding thing you'll ever do in your life.
Great advice, great tips. I want to also add in here. So this is the event that Pat is at today down in the Valley, and you can scan that QR code for more information, and definitely get down there. If you know anyone who is needing a job, this job fair is great, and there's just so much opportunity out there. So make sure you come down there and make sure you say hello to Pat. 9 to 3 today, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. And so, yes, that QR code will work. If you put your phone up there, get your camera on there, it should take you to the information needed so you can get to the location. One more thing, Pat. So what is, we kind of talked about, your background and what you do and why you do it. But I want to just kind of change just a little bit to get to know you a little bit even better. What is your most memorable thing that you have done so far in your life? Do you have a memory or event or something that that just really brought lots of joy and excitement into your life?
I think probably, I've done so many cool things. I mean, it's again, when you're blessed, you're blessed. But probably the most memorable is when my father pinned on my first sergeant stripes in front of the whole unit down at Phoenix when I got promoted and took over the unit right there at Papago. That's probably the most rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pretty cool thing. Pretty cool.
I bet that was really cool. How awesome. Well, thank you so much that you took the time out of your very, very busy day. And I know you are a busy guy all over the place. And I know your whole life is just dedicated to serving others. And you are such an inspiration, and you are impacting many, many lives. And so I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule today to hop on this live stream and let us know what's all going on. Appreciate you so much, Pat. Keep up the good work. You're an amazing guy, and I'm so blessed to know you. And I just love serving our veterans beside you too. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. Do you have any last words for us?
No, thanks to all of our veterans out there. Welcome home to all of our Vietnam vets. I hope you have a great day. And thanks for having me, and thanks for all the great work you're doing out there. Thanks for your passion and your love for our veterans and helping them get houses, but also in the other things you do in the community. We appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, Pat, we will chat a little bit later. You guys, thank you so much for being here and taking a look. Pat really is a fantastic guy, and I hope if you do not know him personally, please get to know him. He is just amazing, and he's just so inspiring and full of knowledge and resources. So I can't say enough great things about Pat. So yes, thank you so much, veterans, to all who served. So much gratitude to you all, and Vietnam vets, very, very dear place in my heart for sure. And I just love you all. And so goodbye for now, and we will see you next time.